Ah yes, the memories of spending summer afternoons cautiously sneaking around Grandma's garden. There, amidst the tangle of greens, these jewels sat pretty. Red cayennes, glossy emerald bells, and sunny yellow banana peppers, all hanging like ornaments on a Christmas tree. Those plump, juicy peppers seemed to grow all on their own, almost magically. How did she pull it off? Well, join us as we unravel the secrets of your grandma's pepper patch. Here are 20 ways she grew more from less, a legacy written not in gardening books, but in the very dirt under her nails. Star seeds, overrun of the mill. Grandma's pepper garden wasn't an accident of chance. No, it always started with her picky choice of star seeds, the creme de la creme of all pepper seeds. So, instead of grabbing whatever was on the counter at the store, she'd carefully save seeds from the sweetest, most robust peppers each season. Her secret? Treating these seeds like precious heirlooms, not just garden starters. Not all seeds are created equal. Planting any old seed packet is like picking names out of a hat randomly. But star seeds are like hand-picked superstars ready to hit home runs in your garden. With them, you get fewer trips to the garden watering can, robust plants that resist diseases, and a whole lot of peppers with a lot of fuss. Now, speaking of nurturing those seeds, Grandma had a special pre-planting ritual. A warm bath to wake the lying giant. Before Grandma's star seeds hit the soil, she believed in treating them to a little spa treatment before months of toiling underneath the soil. Welcome to the world of seed spa treatments, where a little warm water soak unlocks big growing magic, making your gardening adventure easier, faster, and way more rewarding. With patience, she'd gently dip her star pupils in a jar of warm water and leave them to soak overnight. That warm water soak jump-starts germination, a radical awakening that sends sprouts bursting out of the seed. Without this spa treatment, your seeds could take either one of these two routes, a longer period to sprout or the chance of not growing at all. This simple early step saved Grandma weeks of waiting impatiently and laboring over patchy sprouting. And now it could do the same for you. Once those seeds soak, they're primed to be planted. But not just yet. The Porch Preschool. Grandma wasn't just going to toss her little seeds to the great outdoors. Believe it or not, but those young plants could be shocked by an immediate move outdoors. So she instead had what she'd call the Porch Preschool. For a week, the seedlings spent their days on the sheltered porch, getting used to the real air and light and their nights back on the windowsill. Each day, she'd move them a foot further into the yard, then back again. This doesn't look like much, but this slow dance with the sun, this gentle introduction prevented transplant shock and created stocky, resilient plants that didn't need to recover. They were ready to thrive from day one in the soil, and the soil they were destined for? It wasn't just dirt, it had been prepared not with chemicals, but with a culinary flair. The Compost Foundation method. Long before planting day, Grandma made certain her garden spot was more than ready to grow new life. How? Well, for starters, you'd have to forget about the bags of fertilizer with their long chemical names and even longer promises. If you wanted to know the real secret behind your grandma's legendary pepper patch, you didn't look in her garden shed. You looked in her kitchen scrap bucket. This, my green-thumbed enthusiasts, is the Compost Foundation method. Every vegetable peel, every crushed eggshell, every handful of those used coffee grounds made their way into a simple pile or bin tucked behind the garage. By spring, this black gold was teeming with life, and into the ground it went before her star seeds. It released a slow, steady buffet of nutrients all season long, eliminating the need for any synthetic fertilizers. The result? Pepper plants that were so deeply, fundamentally happy they couldn't help but produce like crazy. This rich, living soil was the perfect bed, but it still needed some work. Raising the garden stakes. Grandma's garden beds didn't sprawl lazily on the hard ground. Instead, her peppers sat on a throne. Okay, not a throne, more like a raised bed that made them feel like royalty in your garden kingdom. Well, let's learn how you can lift those peppers, literally and figuratively. Raised beds do a lot of heavy lifting for your garden, starting with better soil conditions. When you elevate your peppers, you're giving their roots first-class soil, well-drained, rich in nutrients, and perfectly loose for stretching out. Plus, raised beds made watering and weeding simpler too. No stooping for hours into cold, hard earth. Less bending, less backache. The peppers got a comfy home that encouraged health and vigor, while Grandma got more time for her favorite rocking chair. Mulch, Grandma's soil blanket and weed warrior. The idea of using mulch to protect your plants isn't new to anyone. However, Grandma had an even better way of pulling this off, while we now buy rolls and rolls of black plastic or bags of dyed bark mulch. Grandma had an unsung hero, the Sunday Funnies. After the family gathered round and had a good laugh over Blondie and Dennis the Menace, those newspapers found their real purpose, in Grandma's garden. And here's how. She'd lay down thick, wet sheets of newspaper around her newly planted peppers and cover them with a layer of grass clippings from Grandpa's first mow. It blocked every weed, retained every drop of moisture, and as it broke down, it fed the soil. Plus, she always joked that the peppers grew even more robust if they read Garfield. All these years later, and you can still take this page out of Grandma's gardening Bible, or in this case, newspaper. Well, with the weeds stifled by the funny pages, her watering duties became not a chore, but a precision task. The 1-gallon jug irrigation innovation. Now, let's talk about watering. You stride out into the blazing afternoon sun, hose in hand, and give your pepper plants a shower that leaves their leaves drooping and their soil soggy. You mean well, but the truth is, you're just throwing water at the problem and hoping for the best. Your grandma, on the other hand, isn't wrestling a hose. She's not even outside. She's out on the porch, fanning herself while her peppers are getting the most perfect, deep, and luxurious drink of their lives. Well, it's not magic. What's at play here is her irrigation innovation was built on a foundation of 1-gallon milk jugs and a single pin. Grandma understood something fundamental about peppers. They crave a long, slow, deep drink that encourages their roots to grow strong and dive deep into the cool earth. Her 1-gallon jug method was the ultimate solution, a slow drip spa treatment delivered right to the roots. She repurposed old milk jugs. She'd poke a tiny pinprick in the bottom corner of a jug, fill it with water, and place it at the base of each pepper plant. Thanks to this, she had no runoff, no waste, no wet leaves. A passive, perfect watering system. Invitations for bees and butterflies. Grandma's peppers owed much of their success and growth not just to the obvious direct care they always got, but also to the friendly visitors buzzing and fluttering nearby. Her secret to the most successful pepper harvest in the neighborhood really wasn't a secret at all. It was a party, and she knew just how to send out the best invitations. What we're talking about is a garden gala with all the best pollinators. Peppers can't turn flowers into fruit without pollinators, and bees and butterflies are the superstar guests that take pollination seriously. As they flit and buzz from flower to flower, they carry pollen, Mother Nature's winged couriers, ensuring your pepper plants set fruit efficiently and generously. How do you throw this buzzing party? Well, it's easy, really. All you have to do is tuck fragrant, nectar-rich herbs like basil and oregano right in between her pepper plants. Now, your pepper plants can grow properly, but you still have to keep them in check. And here's how. Gentle pruning. Imagine you're staring at your pepper plant, shears in hand, feeling a mix of determination and sheer terror. One wrong cut, and it's all over. This isn't gardening, it's open heart surgery without a license. Unlike the gardener's manual that shouts, "Prune this, clip that," Grandma pruned sparingly, removing only the weak, overcrowded branches that robbed energy from fruit-bearing limbs. Q in the art of gentle pruning. For Grandma, it wasn't about dramatic reshaping or harsh cuts. This selective snipping meant peppers used their precious energy on swelling fruit, not producing endless leaves. Less pruning wasn't just less work. It led to healthier, more fruitful plants Grandma could proudly point to on sunny days. And while our peppers are looking quite nice, they love good friends. And nope, you don't count. Companion planting. Let's be real, your pepper plants are lonely, just sitting there in a quiet, orderly row, waiting for trouble to show up. And the truth is, it will. Because without their crew, their family, they're sitting ducks for every bug with a craving for some peppers. Now, shut your eyes and picture Grandma's garden. It wasn't a single row, it was a riot. A vibrant, buzzing, chaotic community where marigolds mingled with basil, and oregano spilled right into the pepper patch. That, in all its glory, is the beauty of companion planting, leveraging the symbiosis of these plants to create a thriving atmosphere for your pepper plants. Grandma believed no pepper should grow alone. She surrounded her plants with companions, aromatic basil, pungent onions, and cheerful marigolds, which naturally scared off pests and improved the soil environment. And today, you can still do the same to improve your yield with much less work. This botanical friendship circle meant fewer bugs and less need for sprays or traps, saving Grandma from constant pest patrols. The result? A garden that practically ran itself. The Epsom salt secret. Sometimes you've done everything you could possibly do, and your pepper plants still look off. You feed them, water them, play them classical music. Hey, you were desperate. And yet, they sometimes just wouldn't change. They're just there, surviving, unfortunately. Well, let me cue you in on a little gardening secret. One Grandma had tucked right between the baking soda and the bath salts. It wasn't a fancy fertilizer. It was a humble box of Epsom salt. Grandma didn't know the words magnesium deficiency, but she knew a sad plant when she saw one. So once a month, she'd dissolve a tablespoon of Epsom salt into a gallon of water and give each plant a generous drink. And here's the science behind this, a science Grandma couldn't be bothered knowing. The magnesium in Epsom salt boosts chlorophyll production and aiding nutrient uptake. So, the next time your peppers look like they need a little love, don't overcomplicate it. Follow Grandma's lead. The perfect balance of shade and sunlight. Do you know that peppers are sun lovers? Well, now you do, but there's more. They're sun-worshipping divas who still need to cool down. This means that you have to find just the right balance of shade and sunlight. Grandma knew this, so she made sure she had that sweet spot even before the seeds went in the ground. I can remember it like it's yesterday. Grandma standing by the window observing the sun's march across her garden like a seasoned playwright. In the end, she'd place her peppers in spots basking in morning sunshine, but shielded by taller plants or light cloths during grueling afternoon heat. This sunshade rhythm meant that her peppers got at least 6 hours of morning sun, light and gentle. Also, you'll have to keep an eye on leaf color and plant health to tweak your shade strategy as needed. Harvest often. Let's talk about patience. Or, better yet, let's talk about how Grandma threw it right out the window when it came to picking her peppers. That's right, harvesting peppers often is like you telling those plants, keep it coming. It's the effortless hack Grandma swore by to get buckets of peppers without spending all day in the garden. Peppers are generous plants, and they do not get tired. Quite the combination. So, when ripe peppers hang around too long, plants think the job's done and slow down fruit production. But by snipping off ripe peppers regularly, you're sending a "more please" signal that encourages plants to keep flowering and setting new fruit. Nobody told Grandma to wait for the whole patch to turn red before picking. She even had a morning routine, one that involved all the kids with baskets around their hands picking peppers. It was family time, really. So, how about you take this page from Grandma's gardening and family bonding Bible? Turn harvesting into a daily garden stroll. The stocking stuffer's stake system. We've all been there. One day, your pepper plant is erect, healthy, and laden with soon-to-be-picked perfection. The next day, after a light summer's rain or a gust of wind, it completely wobbles over like Humpty Dumpty, its branches strained, and all that soon-to-be-picked perfection in the dirt. I can remember Grandma struggled with this same problem until she found a secret weapon, one that's stretchy, strong, and was in her drawer all along. Welcome to the Stocking Stuffer's Stake System, your grandma's brilliantly simple, utterly free, and surprisingly effective way to keep her pepper plants standing tall through wind, rain, and bumper crops. Instead of tomato cages, Grandma used what she had, and often what she had were old pairs of pantyhose. She'd cut them into soft, stretchy strips. These made perfect ties for staking peppers. Compared to twist ties or string, the soft nylon expands as the stem grows, never cutting or damaging the plant. Repurposing at its best. The warm embrace of a sunny wall. Remember when we called peppers sun-worshipping divas? What if we told you there was a way your pepper plants could get an all-day suntan without even the risk of sunburn? That, guys, can be made possible, and all you'd have to do is plant your peppers next to a sunny wall, one that acts like a personal sun reflector and cozy heat bank. Walls, especially those facing south or west, soak up sunlight during the day and slowly radiate heat back to your pepper plants, even when the sun goes down. It's like your garden's very own mini greenhouse, without all the fuss and expenses. And while you might think this is all too simple, it really isn't, because you'll have to change this location every growing season. Why? Well, that takes us to crop rotation. Imagine this. Year after year after year, you keep on planting your peppers right in the same patch of soil. Diseases and pests take root and start staking out their territory. The soil underneath is bored with no off days. How will your peppers grow robustly? Crop rotation, however, deals with this little problem. It might sound like something straight out of an overplayed farmer's playlist, but trust me, it's the ultimate remix that keeps your garden hitting all the right notes. Every year, Grandma moved her peppers to new spots in the garden, rotating them away from where heavy feeders or pests had been. She'd say, "You have to keep the pests confused." All she did was get little me confused, but all these years later, it couldn't be clearer how much of a genius she was. This yearly dance of planting spots refreshed the soil naturally, reducing the need for heavy fertilizers or pest control disasters, saving both work and worry. Refreshed soil and plants deserve harvesting in their prime, and Grandma knew exactly when. Morning harvests. There's something undeniably satisfying about starting your day with a leisurely stroll through the garden, snipping ripe, glossy peppers straight from the vine before the heat of the day sets in. I, for one, know all too well about this. Grandma made it a family ritual, a chance to bond. Early mornings meant the garden was quiet and cool, and Grandma took advantage of this to pick peppers at their freshest. No one tells you this, but plants kick off their day full of energy, with cool, crisp conditions that preserve the firmness and flavor of peppers. Harvesting in the morning means picking peppers before they lose moisture to the sun's heat, keeping them fresh and crunchy longer. Plus, when you harvest early, plants get a gentle cue to keep producing new fruits, like a pre-game pep talk. You too can do this. A little peace and quiet with the family before you get on with the day, and a chance for your pepper plants to start the day right. Little pepper forts. Every great kingdom needs a fortress, and you guessed it, your pepper plants are no exception. Your peppers face a constant barrage of hungry rabbits, sly squirrels, nosy birds, and sometimes even curious neighborhood cats. Without protection, nibbling and bruising take a toll, lowering your harvest and making work of salvaging what you can. And that's where pepper forts come in. These are smart, simple structures you build around your pepper patch to protect your precious fruits from pesky critters, those relentless garden invaders, and even harsh winds. Grandma was a master at crafting small netted fences or row covers. With a little creativity and a handful of materials, you too can give your pepper patch a little more fortification, which means less chasing and snatching peppers back from critters and more peace of mind without the obvious detrimental chemical wrangling. Pantry Preservation. Ever plant a dozen pepper plants with glorious dreams of salsas, hot sauces, and stir-fries, only to end up in August with a countertop covered in a slowly softening, slightly desperate-looking pepper avalanche? You eat peppers for every meal, you beg your neighbors to take some, and you still end up a guilt-ridden casualty of your own success. You've worked so hard to grow them, but now you're working even harder not to waste them. Well, Grandma, in her infinite gardening wisdom, had a solution for this. Welcome to Pantry Preservation, the ultimate way to make your pepper patch pay off all year long with minimal fuss. This isn't so much a tip on growing peppers as it is a tip on preserving them. Grandma's kitchen in late summer was a cannery and drying house. Some peppers were sliced and pickled in a simple vinegar brine, stored in repurposed mason jars. Others that didn't make it in a jar were threaded onto a string with a needle and hung in the attic. This preserved bounty meant the taste of summer lasted all year, but the work of the garden itself still isn't done. Seeds in tin boxes. All of this work, picking the right variety and doing everything to grow robust peppers, would mean nothing if you're unable to preserve the precious genetics of the best peppers for the next planting season. Plastic bags? Paper envelopes? Sure, they work for a while, but the real vaults for your seeds are tin boxes. They keep out moisture, pests, and light. 3 things that can wreck your precious pepper seeds long before the next planting season comes rolling in. Proper storage means stronger, healthier seeds that germinate faster and grow into vigorous plants. That's fewer failed starts, less replanting, and more peppers for your table without extra work. Each saved seed was a promise, a beginning, a secret handed down, a cherished heirloom. So there you have it. These 20 ways intertwine naturally, with each step creating this chain of care that makes peppers grow bigger, tastier, and with far less toil. So tell us, how many of these would you be incorporating in your garden? Did you grow up practicing any of these gardening routines? Like and subscribe if this brought back some memories or you learned something new. And till next time, my fellow green-thumbed enthusiasts.